Alright, so I'm just filming a straightforward review today. This is going to be on the Benefit Boi-ing. Boi-ing? Boi-ing? Ooh, that's how you're supposed to say it. Figured it out myself. Erase case. Erase case. So this called to me. I mean, how do you resist this makeup case? I'm sure lots of people can. I, however, cannot resist it. I bought it for the case more than anything else. But yes, I'm interested in the 4 concealers that are in here, and I really like the idea of sampling this to try and figure out which one I like the best. So what I'm going to go ahead and do in this video, I'm going to show you guys the contents of this, and then I'm going to do a wear test. So it says in here that you have, take it out first. Take it, oh god, how, this is so cute, oh gosh. Okay, so you get this little pencil case, and inside of it you get 4 concealers, and they're all the sample size. So these 4 concealers in here are the Airbrush Concealer, which is a medium coverage, the Industrial Strength Concealer, which is full coverage, a Brightening Concealer, which is full coverage, and then a Hydrating Concealer, which is sheer coverage. So I figure I actually have a lot of things to do today. I'm going to film a favorites video, and then I'm going to go to the gym with already too much makeup on. Welcome to my life. But yeah, I'm going to do the 2 that are full coverage today. So that's going to be the Industrial Strength and the Brightening. And we'll do half and half, and hopefully it looks acceptable enough for public, right? Okay, so I want to make sure I do this right. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys how much product you get in this kit. This is the Industrial Strength Concealer, and in this one you get 0.04 ounces of product. And then with the Brightening Concealer, you get 0.05 ounces of product. I don't have any Benefit concealers to compare them to, but just in terms of the size, here's the smaller one up next to the Benefit Time Balm. This is 0.04 ounces, and this is 0.26, so it's, you know, significantly more. And then it's a reference that I feel like everybody will relate to. Tarte Shape Tape has 0.33 ounces of product in it, so this set is a true sampler. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the Industrial Strength Concealer. This is all shade 1. I think I might have forgotten to mention that. What I'm going to do is apply them with this is the Sigma Concealer F70. I'm going to apply this first and then blend it out with the Beauty Blusher. This is what gives me the best looking concealer. I swear I'm not sponsored by Benefit. I just happen to have a lot of their stuff. I really don't know why. Alright, so it's all in place. I'm gonna use my Beauty Elixir, and then after that dries, I'm going to go ahead and use just a little tiny bit of the Cover Effect Setting Powder. I don't want to look like I'm wearing too much makeup in spite of my eye makeup look today, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. Alright, brush is clean. We're going to go in on the other side with the Brightening Concealer, which this one is even more pink toned. Oh my goodness. And I have more to cover on that side. Well, you never really know till you try something. Alright, so I definitely like the Brightening one more for under my eyes. This one I could pull off for spot treatment a lot better than this, which maybe it looks okay on camera, but in person it's kind of highlighting those red spots. It's like, hey look, here's some pink to show you where she has pimples. But overall, neither one of them is, on first impression, really twisting my arm. I kind of feel like they just look like every other concealer I've ever used, including drugstore. But you know, that's why I'm doing a wear test, so I'll see if it changes over time. Sometimes it does. They both kind of don't really seem like full coverage as much as more medium coverage to me also. Especially comparing that to, like, the Cover FX cream foundation is more full coverage than this, and it's a foundation. But yeah, I'll be back at the end of this day. Okay, I'm back. It's been about 6 hours, which I feel like is probably fair since I did go to the gym. I was sweating right here too. The Louisiana humidity and heat, I feel like 6 hours is fair. So I'm going to report back. This side is the Industrial Strength Concealer, and then this side is the Brightening Concealer. And I feel like I liked them a little more after they sat on my skin for about probably 30 minutes to an hour. They just kind of seem to get a little better. I'm not sure what that is, but that's something that I personally seem to experience with foundations and concealers across the board. They look kind of rough at first on me. But overall, I definitely prefer the Industrial Strength Concealer. I think that it's just working better with my skin tone, so I don't want to be too harsh on this one that is a significantly more pink-toned color than this one is. But this one is definitely more full coverage, in my opinion. Matched better with my skin. And then you can also see I got some creasing with this one. Oh, I totally forgot to tell you guys, I'm not wearing any kind of primer. I wanted to make sure that this was as controlled of a test as possible, so I don't have any primer on, just tinted moisturizer, that's it. Then these guys, and a light dusting of powder. So, I like this one. I do actually like it. It's not as full coverage as it claims. Alright guys, so we are on the sheer day today. I just got off work, and I don't have anything else to do for the rest of the day. So, we're going to try out these two. I got the Hydrating and the Airbrush Concealer today, which supposedly have different finishes. I might look a little goofy for this day, but that is okay. Alright, so I'm going to start with the Airbrush Concealer, which is medium coverage. Since I actually took the time to look at the little composition book, I see that there's actually some interesting details, so I'll go over all that stuff at the end of the video and make some corrections and such things. But yeah, let's go ahead and do this airbrush one, which is the only one I've seen come with a little protection thing in it. So yeah, just go ahead and apply this one. This one seems to be melting into my skin. It's kind of a little bizarre. It does feel really nice. I think this might be the one that I end up leaning towards the most, but that's based off first impressions. You never can really know from a first impression. I'm actually going back in on a second layer of the concealer over these blemishes because that first layer disappeared. Oh my goodness, this one's disappearing too. First impression of this for spot concealing is that it is not at all working. I mean, I can't really build it up to 3 layers. That's not fair to the rest of the concealers. I'm gonna leave it. Let's do the other side in the Hydrating Concealer. Now this one doesn't promise to be anything other than sheer. I believe the blemishes on that side aren't as bad, so... Okay, so I'm just going to... This is shaped so oddly. Can you see this? It looks like the color is in there and there's like a almost lip gloss-like substance on the outside. Yeah, that's really odd. So I'm just going to try to evenly take from the top, which just blended it together. Well, you know, that actually does give a sheer color. It actually does. Let me bring the light down so you guys can see. It's light, but if you have really good skin and you just want to make it a little better... Before I say that, let me blend it out. Honestly, these look like the same amount of coverage to me. Alright guys, so I got my Caudalie Beauty Elixir in place and my powder on top. And my first impression of both of these is actually very similar. I got exactly the coverage I expected from this one, but I really liked the application. It was so easy, such inspiration for me to keep my skin behaving. The Airbrush Concealer is still nice, but here's my deal. To me, a medium coverage concealer covers a little more than this one did. I would honestly call both of these light coverage. Maybe it's just how I define concealer. Because to me, medium coverage covers a lot and full coverage covers everything. Does that make sense? But if you go by that categorization, this is still a light coverage. That's 2 layers of buildup. It did knock down the impact of those blemishes, but not to the extent that I would have liked. But I still think it is pretty. I think both of them look nice on initial application, which is something that I didn't get from the full coverage concealers. So it'll be really interesting. We're about to do the wear test, and I'll see if they wear off completely or change in any other types of ways that make me suddenly not like them. We're up close and personal. It's been about 7 hours, and I have some comments. This side is the sheer concealer, and I actually really like it. It held up surprisingly well. It's been very comfortable on. I actually really like it. The airbrush one was a massive disappointment because, as you can see, I'm getting less coverage from that side, which is supposed to be the medium coverage, for a really good reason. That being that I've itched most of it off. Something in the airbrush concealer has made me so itchy. Okay, so I'm going to do a general wrap up and tell you guys my thoughts on the 4 products. My 2 favorites were the Hydrating Concealer. I actually really like it. I swear I'm going to take good care of my skin so that this is enough coverage for me. I swear. I love it. I actually really liked this. And the Industrial Strength Concealer was pretty good. Pretty good. Not sure it's going to replace Tarte Shape Tape for me, which is a perfect color match, and I'm going to get more into that later. I did not like the Airbrush Concealer because something about it irritated my skin. And the Brightening Concealer, I think this really is more of a corrector. I really, like, I don't want to be too hard on this. I think that if I used this under a concealer, I might have liked it a lot more, but then you're going to get a lot of thickness if you use it that way, so I'm very undecided on this one. I do have other correctors that I use and love, and I think it's going to be hard for this to replace it, but I don't want to put hate on this at the way that I used it. I was expecting a concealer because that is what it says, and I just don't feel that this is a concealer. One thing I want to do with this kit is tell you guys a price breakdown. This kit retails for $26, and you get the little pencil case as well as the 4 concealers, and here's a price breakdown of all of them. The Industrial Strength Concealer, you get 0.04 ounces. This guy is worth $8. The Airbrush Concealer, you get 0.05 ounces. It is worth $5.88. The Brightening Corrector, you get 0.05 ounces. It's worth $6.66. And then the Hydrating Concealer, 0.05 ounces. It's worth $8.33, giving this set a value of $29, not counting the bag. I never count the bags. They should be considered bonuses. So, I mean, the value is there barely, but it is there if you're objectively looking at it. And I also want to go over the purpose of all of these concealers, because I did find in the booklet what you're supposed to use all of them for, so I'll just real quickly share this with you guys. The Airbrush Concealer, which is this one, you are supposed to use as medium coverage for unevenness and fine lines. I personally cannot do that. This didn't work out for me, but that's the goal. It says on here it lasts 10 hours. Just not at all my personal experience with it. The Industrial Strength Concealer says it is full coverage for heavy-duty dark circles and blemishes. I actually agree with that. Okay, the Brightening Concealer says it is for dull, tired eyes. It does say in this little booklet it is a color-correcting concealer with melon undertones. I think you should call it a corrector benefit. And then the Hydrating Concealer is sheer coverage for dry under eyes and dark shadows. I think that's part of why I like this so much, being a drier skin person. This says it contains vitamin E, apple seed extract. It did feel really hydrating, and I did like it for that reason. Okay, so one strange comment that I want to make that I noticed with this kit is I felt all of these were a little bit too much of a pink undertone. Not tremendously, but just ever so slightly. So this is my Tarte Shape Tape shade. It's fair neutral. And I think can you really see this? The tone of this just has a little bit more pink to it than what I personally prefer. I really don't know if I had bought number 2 if it would have worked a little better on me. And this is not to say that all of these were terrible. Actually, none of them were a terrible match aside from maybe the corrector. But it wasn't close enough that it would be a concealer that hits HG status for me aside from maybe this one, because with it being sheer, it was a perfect match. Okay guys, so the real deal on whether or not I recommend purchasing this particular set, I'm gonna have to go with a maybe. I think that if you're really interested in the Benefit concealers, this is a good way to get to try them out. You get a pretty decent amount of product. It is a value set. However, if you are thinking about purchasing this to stock up on concealer and have a lot around, it's not the best value. This gives you about 0.19 ounces of product for $26. For $25, you can get the Tarte Shape Tape, which contains 0.33 ounces. And earlier in this video, I talked about the balm. I meant the balm when I said Benefit. This is actually a really fantastic concealer as well, 0.26 ounces. I believe this was around $20, so same price. It's a good concealer. Now these all, to me, in shade 1 at least, leaned a little bit on the pink tone side. I think that they could really work for some people, but I think that the general consensus of trying out a set like this at all is that you're going to find 1 or 2 concealers that you like, same deal as me, and in that way, it's not the best deal. If you're really on a budget and you want to try out these concealers, go into Sephora and start asking for samples. In 2 trips, you've got all of the samples of these. Alright guys, so that is my review of this set. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please give it a like, hit subscribe, and thanks so much for watching. Peace out, YouTube.